With Liquor Barn, you can shop your favorite bourbon, that perfect bottle of wine, or discover something new. To place an order for pickup or delivery, download the Liquor Barn app, visit liquorbarn.com, or call your nearest Liquor Barn location. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our email list for all the latest news on products, promotions, and events. Liquor Barn, where Kentuckians go to celebrate life. Cheers!
Welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast, your source for all things bourbon. Join your hosts, Mark and Matt, as they drink and review bourbons, share news about upcoming events, interview the who's who in the bourbon world, and, most importantly, bring you along for the fun of living the bourbon life. Now, here's your hosts, Mark and Matt.
Well, all right, everybody. Welcome back for another exciting episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and with me, as always, is my friend, my buddy, my black shirt wearing, short wearing, slipper kind of sketcher looking, clog wearing, freshly shaven, gray hair combed over, chuckling into the microphone, co-host Mark. Mark, how you doing tonight?
Oh, Matt, I'm doing great, man. Thanks so much for that wonderful introduction. It's so nice after 111 shows to change it up a little bit, right?
That's right. So now we've got another 111 to go before I have to do this again. Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome, Matt. I appreciate that. Well, if you guys can't tell, we are hanging out live in the Bourbon Life studios tonight with the entire Bourbon Life crew.
Also known as Mark's basement.
That's right. There you go. So, it's also known as my basement. Thanks for bringing that up, Matt. Mm-hmm. We used to do the Bourbon Life bingo. That should be a bingo score for anybody at home playing along.
No, we haven't played in a while, have we?
We have not.
We need to make actual boards.
We need to make boards.
Yeah.
Like bingo.
Iron Man.
Lifelong Kentuckian.
Lifelong Kentuckian, high proof.
Flatwoods.
Yeah.
Attorney.
It's all about me.
Yeah.
Wait a second, Matt. Wait a second. Hold on.
I'm from
Matt's from
Eastern
Michigan.
Kentucky.
Michigan.
Yeah,
Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So I'm sorry I talk about myself so much. But welcome to another episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark.
And this isn't just any episode. This is what? TBLPC FOTR, right?
Oh, God.
Gosh.
Yes, that's right, man. Very good, Matt. I like that. So if you guys need a translation, it's the Bourbon Life Crew, Flights to the Round. But we have the entire crew, right? So we've got two new additions to the Bourbon Life Crew. We've got Christi and Stacey. Welcome.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, so we've got a new podcast, the Angels Share, that's been going on. You guys just recorded episode 7 tonight before this, so it's been going really well. So welcome to, I don't know, I should say welcome, but it might be kind of scary for you guys.
Every time he welcomes us to his basement, we get him drunk. But we promised Mark's wife that wasn't going to happen tonight.
Yeah.
That's usually like the opposite of how it works. Like usually some guys trying to lure women and get them drunk in his basement.
Yeah.
It's
We're like, Mark, let us come record in your basement and we'll bring booze for you. And he's like, all right, done.
I know. It's
Let's
like,
do it.
how many guys get to get bourbon sent to them by master distillers, but also have women bring them bourbon and get them drunk in their basement, right? So
I sent him a message this morning that says, I'm bringing alcohol.
No.
I'm just living the bourbon life, man. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it.
But hey, we also have my wonderful co-host Matt not wearing a beanie tonight, man. What's up, Matt?
Not much, Mark. We finally got some springtime coming through, even
do.
though we've just had some snow, of course, recently. But
And you're excited because
it's
springtime and what's blooming?
the crocuses are out. The tulips are about to hit. The dandelions are coming up, unfortunately. My grass is growing, which means I'm going to have to mow it. That sucks.
No doubt, man.
You know, we'll get there.
We'll get there, right? But we also have Philip and Chad with us too. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Glad you guys are here too. I actually, we talk about it, and I usually do notes for the show, but tonight I have no notes. I have no agenda.
Are you scared?
I kind of am, man, because I don't fly, and I don't mean to call you man. It's just, Stacey, I'm so sorry.
This is the unplugged version.
I'm insulted, ma'am.
Welcome. I'm sorry, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But yeah, welcome to the show, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to the basement. This is the reality of it all.
I've never been called ma'am in the basement.
Oh my, yeah.
Anyway, cut that. Anyway.
Anyway, so we got a lot of stuff. We got a table full of bourbon and drinks and alcohol. And the funny thing was that Stacey and Christi just recorded an episode before this as well. So they had the table full of bourbon.
What are you trying to say, Mark?
That it's been a lot of drinking already going on tonight. And
But it was
It's
it
a
was
Monday.
controlled drinking.
yes, it was in moderation.
It was.
And
You're
I
right.
actually even had a control whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. You had a control wiki. You had a control.
See, Mark was the one that was hitting the booze, guys, not us.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, let's talk about what we're drinking in this. What do we have poured up in this first round? Chad, you brought this bottle, man.
I
So
did.
share with everybody what we have mixed up. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be a long night.
This is what happens when you're not in control from the get-go.
I know, Matt. Matt took control, and now I'm
You need me to step behind the wheel here?
Just do it. Just do it. You guys just take a show, and I'm just gonna step back.
Matt, ask me what we're drinking tonight.
Chad, what are we drinking tonight?
Matt, we are drinking Midway Distilling Company's Colonel Francisco. This is a
Ooh,
rye
Francisco.
Francisco.
Ooh, I like this. That's really fun to say. Francisco.
This is a 95.5 rye, 4 years old, finished in rum barrels. And it's got a little tidbit on the back. Would you like me to read that, Matt?
Please.
All right. In 1835, Colonel John Francisco sold his 216-acre farm to the Lexington and Ohio Railroad, making the foundation of Midway possible. Around the same time, American whiskey rose in popularity as rum was highly taxed and tariffed. This rum blends the two spirits while paying homage to the man who made Midway possible.
Wow. Why do they call it Midway?
Where's it at?
Midway between Frankfurt and Lexington.
Oh, there you go,
right.
man. There you go.
I
right?
just recently learned there actually used to be a Midway distillery.
Yeah, there was. So, and that's from Bluegrass Distillers.
Yep.
But they've rekindled the name, right? So they're
Yes.
releasing this entire line under Midway Distillers. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah, they bought up the DSP for the distillery. They're opening their new distillery out there, which
What's the DSP for that? Do you know?
I don't know.
I'm just kind of curious how old it is.
4,792.
Well, I mean, just wonder if it's like a DSP, like 45 or 25 or something old, but
I am not
I
sure.
haven't seen it on any of their.
haven't either. Yeah, so that's a good question.
Did they get the DSP number or just the name?
They possibly just the name.
Okay.
Because usually you would publicize if you got the number too.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there is no DSP number on here.
Because like Amir that we had on the show from Pepper, he got the DSP, right? That
Yeah.
was like
Yeah, he's got-
05.
He's got the
5.
number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like
That's OG status.
seriously, number 5 in the state of Kentucky. That's pretty damn impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, he's almost up there with Old Poe.
I was going to say Peerless has got a pretty
Do
low
they?
number, don't they? I believe.
They may have.
52.
You're the peerless person, Christy.
I go there and I
out
drink
here a lot.
alcohol. I was actually just at Peerless. We did an event there Saturday night.
Did you really?
Yeah,
what was
I
that
was there
one
all
you
night.
brought? You brought that one. What was that? A jelly donut over the?
Oh
Was
yeah,
the
it was
berry-
glazed.
Berry glazed donut. Or
Oh,
Glazed blueberry donut or glazed blueberry muffin,
oh
something
my
like that.
God.
Blueberry donut.
Yeah.
It was good.
So I've not had a lot of Peerless just because, well, we talked about that a little bit.
But
in
I
terms of the
converted
pricing.
you.
You did, yes. So I'm going to have to start picking up some
Yeah.
Peerless. So back to the Midway Distillers. We did have Sam Rock and Ben Franzini, the owners of Bluegrass, on the show. When was that, Matt? Like January, maybe?
Yeah, it would have been early this year.
Yeah, so just a few months ago, a couple months ago, right? And they also own, obviously, Midway Distillery, or Distillers. So what do you guys think in terms of see, I'm running the show, Matt. I shouldn't be doing that.
Philip, let's go to you, man. What do you think? Give us some. Let's go through and talk about a little bit what we're smelling here. Get
it's got a
nose in
very
it.
pleasant nose. I'm getting a lot of mint on the nose.
I agree with that.
It's got a very sweet nose.
It still has that rum funk though.
Rum Funk.
Yeah. You never heard of rum referred to as funky?
Rum Funk. I like that. No, that's cool.
You want it to have that.
You want to have a little rum funk.
Nice little earthy aroma with some sweetness behind it.
Don't look at me. Look at Matt.
Yeah.
Oh,
What are
sorry.
you looking at me for?
If you knew how they made rum, you probably wouldn't drink it.
Oh, pretty bad, huh? I don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
To me, I get a lot of citrus. I get a lot of orange on this. It's like some papaya, something with it as well coming through. And almost, the orange is almost like a fake candied orange, like almost unbelievably orange.
I can see that.
I could see the papaya.
I've never had papaya.
I haven't either.
I get the orange.
They're so good.
I've never had fake orange. No, I'm just kidding.
When I say fake orange, I'm thinking like pixie stick kind of orange, like a super sweet sugary.
I get it, man.
But as I'm smelling this, I keep wanting to, like the only other rye I've had in comparison in a rum barrel would be the Angel's Envy, and this is nothing like that.
Yeah.
So I'm having to disconnect myself from thinking it's just going to be like graham crackers and s'mores and campfire.
Right.
Candy.
Yeah.
And this is a MGP, right? So it's a 95.5 rye.
95.5 rye.
Yeah.
Now, like Angel's Envy, it doesn't say straight rye whiskey finish. So, I mean, I assume these barrels could still have possibly been wet or had some in there. I don't know, because Angel's Envy, like for that reason, they don't put it on there because there's usually still some rum left. But like you said, completely different nose.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it. I mean, I like what I get on the nose on this one.
Yeah.
So it's very very interesting. So I mean, you're a homeboy for the bluegrass distillers, right? So
Yeah, man. I don't want to say I'm their biggest fan because I feel
you
weird
are,
saying
man.
that,
No, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Not even a limb, man.
But does he have a tattoo?
I'm not yet, but he's gonna work on it. It's a tramp stamp.
Oh,
It's on
tramp
the, yeah.
stamp.
You don't want to
Okay.
see where it is.
No, never mind. We want to
Stacey,
know.
it might as well be a bullseye. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right.
That's all I'm gonna say about.
Well, thank God that this is not a YouTube episode, everybody.
It's going to turn into an all-out brawl.
Chad just lifted a shirt. Tramp stamp is there,
There
everybody.
you go. The bullseye is in full visibility.
I don't like to show it to everybody.
That's okay. We appreciate you feeling comfortable enough to share that. No, we really don't. Chad.
Did you all see Macaulay from Wilderness Trail show off his tattoo update? Yeah, his butt crack. His tattoo update. So the tattoo's been there, but he's had a little update to it. And yeah, you guys see all kinds of crack with it.
Oh, wow.
I
No,
haven't seen that
I
update.
have not seen it. Macaulay's a good dude, though. We had a fun time. We did a barrel pick down there with him 2 years ago, Matt. Was it 2 years ago, February?
2 years plus, yeah.
Yeah, but we had a good time. Picked 2 barrels down there. Actually, the Bourbon Life bought a barrel, and then we're like, no, wait a second. We're not really going to be able to buy this barrel.
Bourbon Life then returned the barrel.
You can do that. You can return a barrel.
Well, like 3 days later, I was like, Macaulay, dude, I'm sorry, but Matt and I were really drunk.
No way.
We did. Because at the time, we were just like, oh, hell yeah, this is awesome. We love this. It's a great weeder. We're going to buy it. Yeah. So, but they still respect us and love us, I think, but they've never been on the show.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. Wait, can I do that? No, I'm not going to do it. Just Matt's shaking his head like, don't do any sound effects.
Don't do it, man. Keep it natural.
All right, Matt. I won't do that. So, what do you guys, in terms of like well, no, Matt, go ahead. I'm sorry. Matt,
No, that's all right.
I'm jumping in.
It's your show, man. Drive away.
I'm taking over the show.
Do we have some topics to discuss?
We should. What topics?
Let's not rush through in this.
What
one
topics
here.
can we discuss? Look, I got a great topic we can. No, we'll discuss that next round, man. So I got a better idea for the next round.
Oh,
Who's got a good idea for this round? Nobody.
I just don't want to talk about the tramp stamp anymore.
You know what? Let's talk about the podcast. Let's talk about the Angel Share.
There we
Because
go.
yeah, that's a new topic, and that's a lot of fun. And you guys are doing a great job with that. You just recorded episode number 7, so it's kind of a good way to introduce, because we did an original show a couple weeks ago to kind of introduce you all, but that was episode number 1 technically, and this is your first Bourbon Life Crew show. So let's talk about that. So tell us a little bit, tell our listeners everything about the show and kind of a little bit about who you guys are. Because when we did our first Bourbon Life Crew, who these guys are, whoever they are, Chad and Philip, they introduced themselves and told everybody about themselves. So tell everybody about who you are and how you got into the bourbon industry.
Which one do you want first?
Well, Christi, you know what? I always go alphabetically when I'm talking to you
No.
guys.
I mean, which topic do you want first? You just asked 2 different questions there, Mark.
Oh, damn it.
See?
Choose whichever one you want. You just go.
So the Angel Share is kind of our inside look. The people who are here in Lexington in the heart of what is termed as bourbon country, even though bourbon is, pretty much everywhere else in the U.S. But we have so much more access to the personalities that are in this industry here. So our whole objective aside from when we do like an episode where we're just talking about things that interest us, with our guests is bringing them on, but not talking about, oh, tell us, about your history. We want to quiz them, or we want to find some other talent that they have, some other skill, some other interest, and use that and bring that forward and show a different perspective of that personality, or maybe just lend some of their knowledge to another topic that we're talking about that's unrelated to them. So, just using those relationships to our advantage.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, Christi.
Stacey's drunk. That's okay. You can hiccup.
No, I'm not.
Go ahead. Hiccup all you want. That's all right.
I wasn't hiccuping. I was trying not to clear my throat in the mic, you jerk. Anyway, it's great to be a part of the Bourbon Life Crew. Even though Mark is picking on us already, but I guess that's just like a
welcome to reality
term of endearment here.
There
But
you go. That's right.
I've been taking it for 111 episodes.
There you go.
I'm really sorry.
Welcome to the party.
I'm really sorry, Matt.
Welcome to the party, pal.
We're gonna start a GoFundMe for Matt. Everyone, bruised and battered Matt's.
Fresh the warden.
Yeah. Follow me
man.
for more details.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I really feel bad for you.
Hashtag bruised.
We're going to do a commercial on TV, right? With that lady singing a really sad song. There you go. Yeah.
Angels.
Show Matt over in the corner with a microphone like, oh.
Have him shivering
this
next
segment
to
is
the...
not about me. This is about
The angel share.
the angel share.
There you go.
Enough.
But you know what?
Enough
We're
about
gonna
Matt.
have an episode featuring Matt and his abuse on the angel share. Maybe not. He's making a face. Maybe not. We don't want to publicize that too much.
Yeah, that's blooper reel.
Oh, man.
But no, it's been a lot of fun. I'm really glad that you approached us about this, Mark. It's been, I don't know, it's been an interesting take on everything in the bourbon industry. It's still
And beyond.
Right. It's still brand new, and we're starting with things bourbon related, but we're going to kind of branch off into other spirits, but we kind of want to keep the interest bourbon related for now and then kind of grow from there.
Sure. No, I think that's a great idea. I'm excited about it. And when we talked and you guys had the ideas and you told me what you wanted to do, I was like, that's great. And it's your show. And that's the whole thing was that it's going to be your show and you all just come up with whatever topics you want to come up with. And I'm cool with that. I just think, we talked about it a little bit because there's a lot of bourbon podcasts out there. There's us, there's, well, I won't go into the list of shows, but it's a lot of male dominated shows that are out there, and there's not a lot of female specific, and not that this show and your show is about, just trying to reach the female audience, because it's not. Your show has appeal to anybody that's a bourbon fan or a spirits fan, but it's from a different perspective than what.
Well, I think what our show shows is that maybe some people's impression of what a female in the whiskey industry is like, whether you're a consumer or someone who's actually involved in the industry, probably very different than your personal perception of that. Stacey and I are practically dudes. Apparently
That's why I called Stacey a man earlier.
Apparently one with a tramp stamp, but
I'm so sorry.
we're very aggressive, strong women in this industry. And I think that, bringing some of our connections in and our knowledge, it's probably a lot different than what people are expecting. They're probably thinking we're going to be talking about how to throw a cocktail party all the time. And yeah, sometimes we talk about cocktails. I mean, I like alcohol.
I like a cocktail party every now and then.
I like a cocktail party every now and then.
Let me just go on the record and say I would love to have a cocktail party. So
okay, well, we can make that happen, but that's not something we're sitting around
right. We're not going to do frou-frou. It's pass
we're
me
not
the 140 proof.
We're not sitting around in our robes and our slippers.
I take that as
bonbons.
It's a personal attack right there.
I'm kidding, guys. Totally kidding. I accept robes and slippers, but no.
But it was too hot to wear one today because she wanted to.
I was going to. Listen, can I just say? I'll go ahead and say it because Christi and I messaged about it. Tonight I was going to show up in my robe, slippers, and I was going to have
the shirt you sent me was amazing.
I was going to have a swimsuit underneath of it that was a hairy chest swimsuit, but it didn't work out in time. So you guys are welcome.
Oh man.
And I'm sorry at the same time.
Yeah,
but
I'm very sorry. I did not get to
But does it have a happy trail?
Yeah, Christy's like, I feel like you need to have one with a chain on it. So I found one with a chain.
She did. I was really shocked. Like 5 minutes after I said that, she found one. It's just like this gold chain. It looked like it belonged on a
Don't
wrapper.
challenge me with random things on the internet. I'll find it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So you guys are welcome. And also, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry too, because that would have been a lot of fun. Just so people know, I do like to wear my robe. I admit that. You know, I can't help. I don't wear it during the podcast. So Matt,
He wears clothes under the robe, I think.
Yes, sometimes.
Matt, can you confirm?
I've never worn the robe for a podcast.
I've
you
never seen
haven't?
it on the podcast.
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Just in my comfort, you know, my times of my off hours. Let's talk
Okay,
about
your
off
off
hours.
hours.
You know, we can
Your
talk about
Facebook
off hours,
selfies.
how we enjoy our off hours, because we do have a new sponsor of the show, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
Off Hours Bourbon, right? So we talk about how we spend our off hours. Yes, I love to sit in my robe
And take selfies.
and take selfies and drink bourbon. I admit that. So, what about you guys? What do you do in your off hours? So,
Who do you
guys,
want to start this?
I don't. Chad, let's go around the
Oh.
table, man. Off hours. What do you do?
Am I talking about what I wear in my off hours?
No. What do you like to do in your off hours, man? When you're not working, when you're not
But
podcasting.
you can talk about what you wear during. What you
Yeah,
can,
what are you
if you really
wearing?
prefer to talk about what you're wearing in your off hours, I'm fine with that too.
Usually sweatpants.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
mean,
me too.
I can't commit to a robe.
Oh well, you know, I'm
That just
telling you.
seems like a lot of dedication.
Once you go robe, I'm just telling you, man, you will never go
Now,
back. But
I do wear slippers.
Yeah.
I only wear slippers at home. My feet never touch the floor.
you can bring them over
good for
here.
that.
Matt brings his every week, man. I'm usually wearing slippers
Yeah.
too. So
But
I'm just
no,
telling you.
What we're doing here is usually what I'm doing at home.
Drinking a little bourbon?
If I'm not working selling bourbon, I am reviewing bourbon at home.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. My Daily Bourbon on Instagram, man. So everybody check out Chad and see what he's doing. So Stacey, what about you in your off hours? Because you work a full-time regular job.
I do.
That's very stressful. So
Unfortunately.
in your off hours, how do you enjoy your time?
In my off hours, I really like to get outside. Grew up on a farm, so living in Lexington, it's a little hard to, live that farm life. But
Sure.
I go back home pretty frequently. And I have a dog at home, so we're always outside.
Nice.
Trying to take walks and such. But I also like to harass my friends here that are around the table on Instagram. I like to harass Chad a lot.
Or you go
or I
you go
visit
live
him
into the
at,
store. That's
I go
right.
into the store and harass him. No, but I also like to sit around and drink bourbon. Not to say that that's all that I do, but
Sure.
Wow.
just like to.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not a dig at you. Or maybe it is.
Maybe it
I
is.
don't know.
Matt, what about you, man? Your off hours. What do you do, man?
I've got to echo what Stacey was saying, trying to spend as much time outdoors as possible.
You are the outdoorsman. There's no doubt.
Anytime I can get out and put my face in the sun and
Yeah.
just be outside. A lot of swimming, a lot of biking, a lot of running.
The triathlon. Hey, did we mention that Matt's an Ironman?
So is
I don't
Mark.
think I've ever heard that before.
So is Mark. Why did that get the drum roll, though? I don't understand
Like
that.
Bourbon Life Bingo. I mean, it's like a.
Oh.
I'm trying to tie it all in because we talked about.
You
that
should make
earlier,
like a
so.
stamp noise.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to come up with something, man.
We need a Foley artist.
We'll have to do something.
Yeah, for sound effects.
Hey, I'm a certified audio engineer.
There you go.
Hey.
Chad, come on over, man, and record. I'm sorry, Matt. I wasn't giving you a hard time, man, because I know you do that. I know you enjoy getting outside, and I'm envious of the fact that you still do that, and I don't. So
Doesn't mean you can't, though.
I know we got a 5K coming up here soon, right?
That's right.
Philip, speaking of off hours, what do you like to do besides encourage and challenge people to run 5Ks in the
So
summer?
I'm gonna admit I haven't trained it.
Yeah, I figured as much, man.
That's
yeah.
gonna start very
Yeah,
soon.
is that right? Yeah. All right. So
Christi-
I
been
can't be
training in her
looking at,
heels.
I can't be looking back.
yeah. So what about your off hours, man? What do you do?
I like to sit around, drink bourbon. Obviously, go hunting for bourbon.
Yeah.
Spend time with my family. I get to go to see Trolls Live Wednesday, so that's gonna be fun.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, man. Yeah, there you go. That's fun.
I like to dabble in my own mixture of cocktails, alcohol, that type thing, and then of course my part-time job with Country Smooth that keeps me pretty busy as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And I should mention that Stacey is at Freckled and Charred on
Oh,
Instagram.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so everybody can follow her. And Philip is at Bourbon Hunting. Well, Bourbon _hunting _KY.
yeah, just type in Bourbon Hunting Kentucky, it'll come
Just
up.
type in Bourbon Hunting KY and it'll
Or
pop up.
Trolls Lover.
Trolls lover.
There it is.
Trolls are us. That's right,
Yeah,
man.
Trolls are us.
You'll find Philip in his special page, right? There you go. Christi, what about you? What do you like to do in your off hours?
Oh God. So what you see on my Instagram is really my everyday life.
There you go.
I am always out doing something involved in the industry every single day. If I'm not drinking a spirit of some sort, I'm eating.
Or she's dreaming about it.
Or I'm dreaming about it. But I'm usually eating because people are like, what restaurant are we going to today?
Let's go out to eat, right?
I was going to say, Christi has enhanced my social life. Or she's trying to enhance my social life.
Yeah, she's like, I'm working. Like, it's 11 o'clock. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm like, sorry.
But then I can introduce you to so many
you can
people.
help us too. You can help me. You can help us all, right? Maybe.
Yeah, my whole day is spent like drinking and networking.
Well, that's
Or distilling.
so you're like
that's my outdoor part.
You're living the bourbon life or the spirits life. It sounds like, which is great. Yeah, that's really cool. And you are at Southbound Lane.
That is correct.
On Instagram, so people can follow you as well. And we already know what I do in my off hours. I wear robes and take selfies. Apparently,
And you're an attorney. That's another Stanford bingo, right?
Yeah, that's right. I am an attorney from Eastern Kentucky, from
That's
Flatwoods, and I'm an Iron Man. How many other Bourbon Life bingos can we get on
Old
that one?
Granddad 114.
And I
Lifelong
love
Kentucky and Old Granddad 114, UK 3 times through, law school, business school, undergrad.
Damn, man,
He's been saving these up.
he has, man.
This is great.
I'm feeling it flowing back
offense.
here.
No
I know
offense,
it's like
Mark,
no
but this
offense,
is great.
but that's all right.
All right, should we get final thoughts here on this?
No,
and
I think it's a
kinda
good time
get
to
this round-
just take a break. No, I'm just kidding.
round rolling up here. We've got the Midway Distilling, the rum finished rye here. What's everybody's thoughts? I'll kick it off since I
Thank
started
you,
this
Matt.
segment.
Yes.
I like this quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think it's really delicious. It's not overly sweet, like I was kind of telling myself it might be, with the only other comparison being the Angel's Envy. But I think there's a lot more spice on this one, a lot more peppercorn, a lot more of that 95.5 coming through. But I think the higher proof really helps to punch through a lot of those sweeter notes and some of maybe the off flavors that you might have picked up from the rum barrel. So I got to say, this is a big hit for me.
Awesome. Very nice, man. Matt, who else do you want to pass it to? Man, you're in control. You do it. No. You can't. He sits the mic
He
down.
threw it back to you.
I know. He's like, my mic is like mic drop. Boom.
Well,
All
looks
right.
like you're up then.
Chad, what about you, man? Since this was your bottle. So
Yeah.
did I tell you I'm from Flatwoods by chance? I'm just curious.
Did
Did
not
you know
know that.
Billy Ray Cyrus is from Flatwoods, in case you didn't know that. Okay.
Go to
You guys were friends, right?
No. We weren't.
Besties. That's what I had
We're
heard.
BFFs.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Just don't tell my heart. My achy breaky heart. Chad, go ahead, man. What do you pick up on that one?
Get a little bit of dill. Every MGP rye, always a little bit of dill. Get that rum funk that we were talking about in the beginning that, Christi threw out there. It's quite earthy. It's not sweet like Angel's Envy rye. If you just take a little bit of sip at a time, because I was trying to see if I could pick up any sweetness. It's just a really mild sweetness at like the back end of the finish. There's not a ton of sugar coming through there, but it's just enough to kind of balance it out.
Very, very nice. Christi, what about you?
So I actually have this bottle. This is my second favorite release that they did from this new line.
What's your first? I know what your
The
first is.
vermouth.
The vermouth.
The vermouth finish
Yeah.
is my favorite out of all of them.
It's
And I went to the Bluegrass Distillers one day. They had 2 bottles, and I had someone with me who's also in the industry, poorly educated, and we both took those 2 bottles. Like,
Very
these
nice.
are ours.
Nice.
But no, I like this one a lot. It's got a lot of warmth on the nose too. Like Chad was saying, you do immediately get that 95.5 rye dill. So you can tell it's MGP, but I think they've done amazing things with what they were working with. And each bottle is so different.
Cool. I've not had any of it. So, and that was funny because when Ben and Sam, because they came over here and recorded with us, and I pulled like 2 bottles of their bourbon from.
Yeah, they were unprepared. We were unprepared.
Yeah, that's right, man. It was like, yeah. Anyway, but so we did not have any Midway Distillers stuff then. So, Stacey, what about you? What do you think?
Well, I'm just going to echo what everybody else said. It's going to make me sound super lame, but it's not like super sweet. Not anything super overwhelming. I do get the dill on the nose, but it's not as a super overwhelming amount of dill like I've found with a lot of MGP ryes. I really like it. Not to say that I didn't expect to like it, but I like it a lot more than I originally anticipated.
Good. All right, Philip, close it out, man.
I'm right there with everybody else. The only thing that I really noticed was on the finish, you get that rye spice, and then I feel like I get some of that orange that Matt was smelling on my tongue right there.
Okay.
Right after after that spice goes away.
Does anybody get the plum on it? It's almost like that ume type plum.
I did not taste plum, but
No, not on the nose.
Oh, on the nose.
On the nose, I get a little bit of a plum.
I didn't pick that up, but my glasses.
Mine's empty.
That's a good sign.
It is, yeah. So it was good, man. Thank you, Chad, for bringing that over.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks,
guys,
Chad.
let's take a quick break, get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with more with the whole Bourbon Life crew in just a minute.
The Stave Restaurant is a bourbon lover's paradise right here in the heart of bourbon country. Located at 5711 McCracken Pike in Millville, Kentucky, between Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, Chef Kyle Klatka prepares amazing food each day that features an elevated Kentucky-inspired cuisine. With a full-service bar, great bourbon flights, and signature cocktails, the Stave is the perfect place to catch up with friends after a fun-filled day of touring the local distilleries. Be sure to check them out online at thestavekentucky.com or at Instagram and Facebook at The Stave Kentucky. Three Chord's line of whiskeys embody the spirit of creativity. The whiskey is a true collaboration between producer and composer Neil Giraldo and master blender distiller Ari Sussman. The Three Chord team of expert blenders, coopers, and sensory professionals have developed a multi-step process they call Perfectly Tuned Taste. This process begins by carefully selecting the finest bourbon and rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana, and then blending them together. Find out more about the whiskeys and distribution in your area at www.threechordbourbon.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back to round, session, period, whatever you want to call it, number 2 of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Philip, from Bourbon Hunting, Kentucky. And with me, as always, in the Bourbon Life Studios, otherwise known as my basement, is my good buddy, Marky Mark. And we're here with the Bourbon Bunch.
The Funky Bunch.
Nice. Marky Mark and the Bourbon Bunch. I love
I'm
that.
getting some good vibrations for this episode.
Oh, yeah. Feel it. I can feel it. Feel it. I really can.
I want a T-shirt of that.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Marky Mark from the Bourbon Bunch.
All right, just so everybody understands why we're doing this. An episode or two ago, Matt mentioned the fact that I like to start every episode exactly the same way. And it's worked for 109 episodes. So in our little group text of the
But
Bourbon
has it really worked?
Philip, I'll have you know, we are the number 2 bourbon podcast in the world, okay? We're number 1, I think, in South Korea or somewhere like that, okay?
Hey,
So,
Spreading shade.
so
Those
hey,
are all important places.
yes.
I know
exactly
we
right.
are. This is my parents' favorite bourbon
There
podcast.
you go. My parents. Exactly right. Yes.
But don't forget Taiwan.
There you go. There you go. That's right. So don't forget. Actually, my parents don't listen. My parents don't drink alcohol, so they don't listen.
Mine don't either. Don't feel bad.
They're Southern Baptists, right?
well,
Bourbon Life
yeah,
bingo
mine's
right there.
Southern Christian.
There you,
So, yeah.
Bourbon Life Bingo. That's right. My parents don't listen. They're Southern Baptists. So, anywho,
Anyway.
yeah.
Speaking
well,
of bourbon and bourbon in life,
yes, let's talk about what we're going to drink this round. So, who brought this bottle? Christy.
Let me slide this on
Yes.
over to you.
So I have to admit, I know only a little bit about this one, but it was recently given to me last week. So last week, I got to meet with Ari Sussman from Mammoth Distilling. If you've heard his name before, it's probably from other projects he's involved in. He works actively with, actually, he founded Ann Arbor Distilling Company, which makes one of my favorite gins out there. And then he works with a couple other companies, including Three Chord, does a lot of blending work. But he is up at Mammoth Distilling in northern Michigan. It's part of the Rosen Rye project. So if you're not familiar with Rosen Rye, definitely look it up. I've done some episodes on that. I'll be going to visit the island where Rosen Rye is being grown in Michigan at some point. But what they gave me here is Mammoth Distilling's Infinity Whiskey, and it's for Plum Market. So it's a place over in Michigan. They have a few different businesses that they have done some different blends with. So this is a blend, but they're calling it the Reserve Infinity Whiskey, and it's coming in at 120 proof.
Awesome. So we should tell everybody, of course, Three Chord Bourbon is a sponsor of the podcast here. So we are very, very, very thankful for what they do. We had Ari Sussman, their master blender, and Neil Giraldo, their founder, their creator, on the show. Gosh, Matt, that was That was a long time ago.
Too long ago.
Yeah, it was. We probably need
They're overdue.
Yeah, we need to correct that, right? So, and we did have Pat Benatar, who is Neil Giraldo's wife, on the show, unbeknownst to her. We could hear her in the background talking to Ari or to Neil. But yeah, so they do some great stuff, and we're really big fans of Three Chord Bourbon. We appreciate all they do. So that's cool. I did not know that Ari was involved with this project. So how long have they been doing this?
Mammoth Distilling.
Yeah.
Ari has so many different things going on. My mind just boggles. He
Okay.
and I had just had a 3-hour lunch together with one of his blenders, Phil Atti, up at Mammoth Distilling. And we talked about so many different subjects, including he pulls out some Rosenrye, a 2-pound bag of Rosenrye, and puts it in front of me.
I was about to say, he posted about it on Instagram. I was like, really? He just carries
pulled
around
it-
a 2-pound bag of Rosenrye?
So how does he gets through custom or through the like TSA with like a fucking 2-pound bag of like Rosenrye? It's like, no, guys. Honestly.
I think they drove, actually.
Oh, did it? Okay. I was like,
So he carries it in his satchel.
It was in his satchel. Like, we were at lunch, and he pulls it out of his satchel.
Indiana Jones wears one.
yeah.
Yes. I love his energy.
It's a satchel. That's right. Thank you very much.
I mean, if you want to totally
Is there a
geek
bank
out,
of phone booths around here somewhere? My pager's not getting a SIG. All right. So, Matt, you're over there working on this, man. So tell me, go ahead. What are you picking up on this this Mammoth?
I got a lot of good, like really nice grain forward on this one. Like really good cracked rye grain, almost like a subtle softness of some wheat. I'm not sure what the blend would be on it, but good amount of grain coming through. And then I pick up like a lot of toffee. I think there's definitely like some dark, rich flavors, some toffee in there. And then I got a nuttiness, and to me it's specifically more like walnuts. So it's not like the brightness or the harshness of a peanut, but it's like a real kind of like an earthy walnut.
it's that
aroma.
oiliness. It's on the nose, too.
Nice. Stacey, what about you? You're over there working this over. What do you get?
Well, he said toffee. I got a lot of like dark brown sugar on the nose.
Okay.
Made me think of like cookies. And that's just because I like to bake.
Yeah. In your episode earlier, you were talking about oatmeal cookies, and I was like, damn, now I'm hungry.
I know. My mom used to make oatmeal cookies all the time.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Mom, if you're listening to this,
Thanks, Mom.
you owe me a batch of oatmeal cookies.
That's right. And thank you, Mom, for listening. We appreciate your support.
Which she doesn't listen
I know.
because she doesn't like
She's like, that
alcohol.
lush.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, if by some off chance you're listening, make me a batch of oatmeal cookies without the raisins.
My mom likes alcohol, but she doesn't bake.
So, all right,
Hey,
Chad.
our mom should trade.
There you go, Chad. What would your mom pick up on this on this one?
That should be a new segment. What would your mom pick up on this bourbon?
This is Dahlia, Mom.
She would probably not like this because it's not purple toad. So
Oh, okay.
Oh
I
my
got
God, my mom loves purple toad too.
you. Your mom's got a new BFF over here. I'm
right.
just telling you, man.
does your mom like cruises? Because that's my mom's.
My
favorite
mom
thing.
does too.
Oh God.
Jesus.
We found a type.
Besties.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you two related?
You my brother?
Guess kind of look a little. What? Oh, shit.
I don't have a
Glasses.
beard.
Oh my
You
gosh.
don't have a beard, thank God.
I
That's-
don't.
Well, so you say.
Or a
do you have
tramp stamp.
I was going to ask if you have a tramp stamp.
Oh, wow.
The world may never know.
There you go. Next episode.
Yeah.
Nose, I'm getting some of that breadiness like Matt was talking about. I'm getting like a toasted coconut though. There's a sweetness in there, and it's I don't know why I'm thinking that, but as soon as I noticed that was the first thing I got. But I do get a lot of breadiness on this. And you said this is a infinity blend.
Yes.
Do we know what went in it at all?
I don't. It was done for Plum Market, so they do like specialty blends for different places. I was trying to find the details online, and I know they told me, but it was a whole lot of information, and I wasn't writing it down because I'm like, I'm so happy to
and
have
she-
this bottle.
She was at a 3-hour lunch, in case you
gonna
didn't
say.
know. And
We all
had
know
a lot-
what
it was a-
that entails.
We had a lot of
So you know what that
cocktails.
means, right? Yeah.
That's just me being jealous
She had a lot of
because
water.
Hint, hint. there
I
was
get
lot
like a
of drinking.
3-minute lunch.
We all saw that Bloody Mary yesterday.
It was amazing.
It had like 80 olives hanging off the end of it.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Bullshit.
That's the only reason I wish I could drink Bloody Marys is because I want to eat the olives and the cheese and the half a fried chicken and the bacon. And
Yeah.
everything
So the
that's
guy
on
who
this.
got that next to
that.
me all he did was eat the stuff that came on top of it, and he didn't drink the Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
And the bartender came over. He's like, the Bloody Mary is really tasty.
He's like, I don't care, right?
Did he slide it over to you?
Yeah. So
No, he just kind of looked over.
Philip, what do you pick up on this one, man?
I actually get a lot of caramel on the nose on this one.
Gotcha.
I do get the grain, more of like a corn note, but it actually kind of reminds me of something like a 4-year-old Heaven Hill type.
That's funny, yeah, because Matt, that's kind of a peanutty kind of, well, at least in Matt's. See, I'm going to speak for Matt's palate.
He said walnut.
He did say walnut, so Heaven Hill though kind of brings up peanuts for Matt. Grandma's peanut butter pie.
Quite often.
Yeah, which is that white bottle right there on the end, the 6-year-old, which is the very last part of the bottled in bond.
I was going to say, you're going to rub that in.
That I have.
Do you have a white label?
I have a white label. Yeah, it's delicious. So, all right, guys, let's talk some stuff. What can we discuss tonight besides the bourbon that we're drinking here? Anybody got a topic?
Way to put us on the spot here.
Yeah, thanks, Dad.
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry to do that, guys. But we're the Bourbon Life Podcast, right? So we talk about things going on in the bourbon industry. So, is there anything exciting that's come up? That here's one thing. You guys were talking last week, Christi, on your show, and you're talking with Heather Wills, the cocktail Contessa, and you ask her about trends and things that are going on.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of cool. That kind of stuck with me. I thought that was a really, as people always tell Matt, that's a really great question, Matt.
And what I wanted to hear most from her is what she didn't like that was going on in trends. But she addressed what she did like more, I think.
Yeah. So I thought that was great. And that kind of stuck with me. So I'm thinking in terms of bourbon trends, things that are going on right now in the industry, in the bourbon world, what are the things that, what's something that you like, but something that you're not a fan of, Christi?
So I'm hoping this is going to be the year of American single malt. Now that we're seeing, some changes going on there, trying to set that designation, I'd like to see what different distilleries are doing with that. Because if you look at the American Single Malt Association, there's a lot of distilleries on there that aren't currently doing American single malt. But you could tell they wanted to have a sort of say in that in case they decided to do that.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see a whole new field open up on that.
Yeah, it's funny because
it's not bourbon, it's whiskey, but
we had the folks from Lost Lantern on, and they do a lot of different picks from people, and they do some whiskey, they do some rye, they do bourbon, whatever, but they also pick single malts. So we've had the opportunity to do some single malts on the show, Matt, and I've not usually been a fan of it, but it's usually in terms of a Scotch, especially like a peated Scotch. I'm not a fan of, but what do you think about the American single malt industry?
I've had so many different ones. So I get sent a lot of samples.
Right.
And I have to say, not one matches another.
Okay.
So I see the whole need for a designation and try to set some rules as what entails American single malts. Because, regionality and especially the type of distilleries, what they're working with, you're going to see some differences. But I'd like to see it try to aiming towards the same goal.
Yeah.
And then see what comes off of that. Just rather than, I don't even know if this is what American single malt is going to be in the future. Right.
So is there anything going on right now that you're not a fan of in the industry that you'd like to see fade away?
Oh, God. I'm sure there's so many things. Come back to me on that one.
We'll come back to you. Matt, what about you, man? What's going on? Things that you'd like to see? Anything? I mean, the single malt thing to me kind of rings true. I think I'd like to see some Americanized versions of that and see, because we took that, what was that Nate brought that one time from Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, the Brooklyn, the 100% malt.
Jesus, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was super good.
That was like a chocolate covered blueberry. I mean, it was amazing on the palate. So yeah, I mean, Christi, I can agree with that. I think the single malt movement.
There's another movement that's going on right now too, where you're seeing the Irish style whiskeys.
Okay.
American made Irish style whiskey is starting to pick up in the U.S. right now.
Interesting. I'm not such a
I'm not a huge Irish whiskey fan either.
Yeah.
But I'm watching this trend
to see what
and
happens.
I think it's going to keep on going.
Okay. Interesting. Matt, anything going on that you would like to see less of?
Well, things I'd like to see more of. I'm enjoying what we've had from a couple distilleries recently with wheated whiskeys, and not like wheated bourbons, but wheat whiskeys where we were over that 51% threshold. I think that's a fun place that we could be going and seeing a lot more of our wheated whiskeys. I think there's a lot to play with there, a lot more flavor opportunities. And I know they get a little bit better with age, so it might be more of a waiting game until a lot of places have them at a mature release profile. But I think there's a lot to be done with that, a lot to be said. You could go at higher proofs. I think it's just a fun way and a fun place to play around with it.
Sure.
I'm excited to see that hopefully take off. And then something I'm really not a huge fan of seeing more is beer barrel finished.
Damn it. You obviously didn't hear our recent episode.
I was going to say the Angels Share podcast week before last was about, beer barrel finished whiskeys, but that's okay.
Yep. Teach their own.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. That's all right. I get it.
Not a beer guy.
Yeah, I get it.
Used to be, but no longer.
I get it. Stacey, other than wanting to throat punch Matt now.
If you can't, everybody that can't see me right now, I'm clenching the microphone as hard as I can. No, I was seriously, before he said that, was going to say I'm really excited for more beer finishes to come into the market. Seriously.
But you know what? That's a great thing because palates
like a
are
jerk.
Exactly.
No,
because
palates are
I
different.
agree. You and I agree with I've listened to a lot of your episodes where you talk about rye tasting notes, and I'm like, hey. He and I click on that level, but we might not just click on the beer finish level. That's where Chad and I more so agree.
Just so you know, so Matt and I go to a liquor barn and we'll grab drinks, and Matt will drink a rye whiskey, Matt will drink a bourbon, whatever. And Matt, what do I drink?
Beer. You drink
Cougar Bay.
15.
I drink Cougar Bait. I mean,
I'm
honestly.
not surprised by that at all.
So
that's fine.
So there you go. So I'm a beer guy. So
I love beer too,
Right,
and that's where I got my start in the alcohol industry is in beer. So I still have that appreciation for beer. I still love beer. I can't drink beer as much anymore. Just kills my stomach. That might be a little bit too much info for everybody, but just kills me.
That's a little TMI.
A little bit TMI. But a little glimpse into the life of Stacey here as I get older. Little baby stomach can't handle it. But anyway, I really think that there's a lot to offer in all of the different beer finishes, especially the stout finishes, as I'm staring at this Lee Sinclair 4 Green.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, the show that you all did, I sat in here and listened and actually tasted along with you all. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple that I was really, with the Bardstown Bourbon Founders, I mean, I was a big fan of that one. So,
I mean, there's a lot out there. And even if I'm curious, even though Matt is not a big beer finish guy, I wonder if he tried some of the ones that we had in that episode.
I don't know.
He would like some of the ones.
I'm sure I probably would. I think I've just been a little jaded by some of the ones I've had in the past.
Yeah.
We've had a few that I've called a couple of real stinkers.
We're not going to talk. Yeah,
I know
exactly what you're talking.
Understandable,
I know
because
exactly what he's talking about.
There's been, I mean, just speaking about bourbon in general, there's been some people that are talking about wheateds or just any specific type of bourbon or whiskey, for that matter. You might just be jaded by that. You just got to keep an open mind.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Anything going on that you want to see less of? I
don't want to say that I want to see less of, but I've seen a lot of toasteds, and I'm just not always wowed by toasteds. Mm-hmm. And toasted. I've had some great toasteds. I've had some shit toasteds.
Yeah.
I like toasted with purpose. Because I feel like some places are doing toasted just to say they have a toasted, whereas places like Prohibition, there's intent behind it. They know it's necessary for what they're working with.
Yep, and I would agree with that. But just everybody and their brothers wanting to do toasted because it's cool and it's
don't talk up Chase. We don't want to talk up Chase. I'm just
that Michter's toasted rye though.
But the Michter's toasted rye speaks to my soul.
Okay, so we did a show.
Toasted.
We did a show
That's
about
why
toasted.
they're part of the crew.
That's exactly right. We did a show about toasted.
That was our initiation. I brought it though without being prompted.
The Michter's toasted rye was the winner, hands down. But we talked about the toasted, and that's a good point. I mean, there's a lot of people. I was surprised by. I think the Elijah Craig toasted was probably my biggest letdown.
Same.
Yeah, same.
I agree 100%.
To me, it was just very lackluster.
Yeah,
I was very disappointed.
I love Elijah Craig. I'll drink Elijah
Same.
Craig. I'll drink the regular Elijah. I love
I love Elijah Craig barrel picks.
Barrel proof, barrel
Barrel
picks.
proof.
I mean, that's probably my favorite bourbon ever. I mean, you can look. I've got there's like 12 bottles there. If you look at my closet, I mean, there's probably like 40 bottles of Elijah Craig around here or more. So it's my favorite. But yeah, that the toasted was like, nope, that's a miss for me. So Philip, what about you, man? What do you think?
So sorry.
Come on, Philip, spit it out, man.
Mine kind of go hand in hand. I would like to see more actual like brandies, like an apple brandy, peach brandy, those type of things actually aged in barrels. And then at the same time, I would like to see bourbon distillers stop doing these like blends with these like brandy barrels or whatever they call them. Like there's just so many finishes going on. Like I would like to see more of just like the actual product aged in a barrel.
Gotcha.
Instead of blending it with some MGP or whatever they've got available. I would like to see the actual product aged in for 5-10 years, because an apple brandy right off the still is delicious, but aged that long, I can't imagine the flavors that would be there. So I'd like to see a lot more of that, kind of like what Spirits of Fridge Lick's doing.
Yeah, that apple brandy that Alan's done is
Yeah, Matt's like apple brandy.
Yeah, the Hoosier apple. I mean, that's dude, that's some insane.
And you haven't had the stuff that was done in the tequila barrel. They finished it in tequila barrel. It was really good.
No, I have not. So Philip, anything that you're like?
Yeah, I guess just the
kind of the same thing.
Yeah, they all
you
go
together.
See, I got you. Yeah. So less bourbon in brandy barrels than actual brandy in barrels.
Gotcha. Yeah. Chad, what about you, man?
Things I'd like to see more of, or just see progress. I would.
Besides your beard, I mean, which is gorgeous, by the way.
2 weeks ago, so it's gonna
gorgeous.
Have to grow back out.
It's just so full, man. I'm so jealous.
I appreciate that.
And the color's nice too, dude. So
It's a little less red today.
it is.
Well, I like to cut all the red and gray out, so no one has to look at that. I'd like to see a lot more craft distilleries, and I get it, you have to make money to get to that point, but I'd like to see a lot more brands take their time. A good example of someone who's not rushed it was, there's Jep the Creed did their 2-year Bloody Butcher, and then they waited to do their Bottled and Bond. And that Bottled and Bond, I think, is really going to pay back for them. But there's so many brands out there who are just releasing several different variations or expressions, and they're doing 18 months, 24 months, 36 months.
Right.
And it really puts a lot of the average consumer off. So I'd love to see a lot more brands either take up source, like, pull the new riff, take up sourcing for the first couple of years if you really got to pull capital in. Which it's easier said than done.
Sure.
But bourbon's exploded, whiskey's exploded. So there's so many brands out there right now who are putting out young whiskey, and they're wondering why they're getting such bad rapport. And
right.
That's kind of the thing. That kind of goes hand in hand with what I'd like to see less of, is just less brands just popping up on the shelf. Because every day at work, it feels like I'm cutting in a new product that's like, how long is this aged? Color looks nice. Aged in 5-gallon barrels for 12 months. Okay.
Yeah.
So
sure.
See, Chad just triggered me because he mentioned something that I do want to see less of in this industry, and that's Bloody Butcher. Bloody Butcher does not distill that well. It's really hard to find. Yeah. It's really hard to find a whiskey made of Bloody Butcher that tastes good.
Yeah.
There's other red corns out there that are great. So I want to see distillers put a little more thought. If you're using heirloom grains, that's great. I highly encourage that. But think about the combination that you're going for. Think about conversion rate and starch and all that.
Sure.
And they're not. They're like, this sounds really cool. We're going to use Bloody Butcher because it's the new big thing on the market and everyone's doing it.
Right.
You don't know what you're playing with. And you're just putting it out there because it sounds cool.
Yeah.
And it tastes awful.
So who else is doing Bloody Butcher? I know Jep the Creed is.
I've seen a lot of brands do it. I couldn't name off every one of them off the top of my head if I had to.
There's a few out there right now.
Yeah, there's okay, and they're all they're all sub 2 years for the most part.
And it's not to say like all Bloody Butcher is bad.
Right.
I have seen a brand do it well, and they put it in a blend, but you don't see that too often.
Sure. Okay, guys, let's jump back to the whiskey. What are you guys thinking on this one in terms of the palate and then the finish on it? Matt, I'm going to throw it back to you, man.
All right.
You've been so quiet over there, dude.
I'll kick it off. I like it, first and foremost. There's a lot going on, and I think with the Infinity whiskey and not really knowing what's going in it, and just a little background knowledge that I have into Mammoth, being from Michigan and they're from Michigan, I know that they have access.
Wait a second, Matt. You're from Michigan?
Bingo.
Yeah.
They have
Hey, we're
access.
both from Michigan.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo.
I'm a Michigonad. They have access to a lot of older and different stuff. Like they have, I know a lot of 15, 16-year-old Canadian whiskeys. And
Gotcha.
So
Right. Yep.
there could be, who knows
what's
in this.
Right.
So for me, I taste like a lot of waffle cone. Waffle cone really comes up to me for some reason in it. Good amount of oak, so it makes me think it's
Older.
got some older
Yep,
stock
right.
in there as well. But a nice amount of spice right on the front too. I think there probably is some sort of a rye component or a higher rye
Sure.
in this as well. 'Cause there's a little bit of good amount of peppercorn and then some nice heat down the line, a little bit of like a nutty earthiness at the end as well. But nice and oily too in the mouth.
Yep. Chad, what about you, man?
I'm kind of curious if there is a light whiskey blended into this because I get a lot of that dessert. Like I feel the punch of the proof, that 120. Like as soon as it hits my palate, it's soft, and then you feel that proof instantly, and then it kind of fades away into like this nice medley of earthy dessert note qualities. I can see the waffle cone. I'm still getting the breadiness. That makes me really wonder if there's wheat in there. But it's that punch of ethanol that really makes me think, like, because I was drinking the Penelope the other day, and I was like, oh man, this is dessert in a glass,
Right.
99 corn, 1% malted barley. And it's been a while since I've had some light whiskey. So this really kind of like hits like there's
It's that same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Christy, what about you?
I mean, I think everyone's hitting the notes like straight on. The body on the palate is what's really getting me. So it's like it hits mid palate and it stops. It's like it hits a wall and it just goes up. Really interesting how it does that.
Okay. Cool. Philip, what about you, man?
I honestly don't know if I have anything to
All right, Stacey, we'll just talk to you.
Well,
What do you-
we'll just go ahead and
Go ahead,
just say
Stacey.
I don't really have a lot to add. The mouthfeel of it, I'll agree with Christy. It kind of like hits mid-tongue and just kind of like stops, but it elevates from there. Not to say that it just stops completely.
Sure.
But it doesn't continue past like mid-tongue for me.
Gotcha.
But I think it's a solid pour for sure.
So do you have any idea what the pricing is? Is this something that's available to consumers or?
So
Okay,
it
Matt's
was
shaking
done
his head,
through so Plum Market. I'm presuming that they're selling it at Plum Market.
Okay,
I don't
Matt,
know if they're
okay.
selling it anywhere else or even at the
Okay.
distillery. So that's a good question. We'll
Yeah.
have to follow up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that they've got it. At least when I was home over Christmas, they have them at Plum Markets on the shelves there. I'm going to guess 80 to 100, maybe 70 to $100.
Is that something you
That was
buy,
my
Matt,
question.
or not? Yeah, I mean, you're not going to offend us if you say no. I mean, it's just a sponsor.
If it were at the lower, end of that, like maybe $70, I would think about it.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
get
say
it.
like
no,
65.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's definitely something I would pay for out at a bar.
See, he's
Yeah.
braver
Yeah.
than me going home for Christmas. It's scary around Christmas time.
Awesome. Guys, let's take a quick break, get a word from our sponsors, and we'll come back with the final round 3 of the Bourbon Life Podcast with the Bourbon Life Crew in just a minute. Spirits of French Lick crafts their spirits using only the finest agricultural product that has defined character, following their motto, respect the grain. They lead the way in representing the quality of the Hoosier artisan distilling process while paying tribute to its inseparable past. By implementing best practices from those early times, combined with modern touches, Spirits of French Lick has created a truly unique place in the industry. Spirits of French Lick products are distributed throughout Indiana, Kentucky, and Missouri, and can also be purchased online through Sealbox at sealbox.com. Visit spiritsoffrenchlick.com to learn more information and make sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Located just east of Lake Tahoe and the Sierra Nevada mountains, Frey Ranch Distillery was founded by fifth-generation Nevada farmers. Our grain-to-glass bourbon is made using a 4-grain mash bill, including a non-GMO corn, rye, wheat, and barley, all of which is 100% sustainably grown on the 1,500-acre Frey Ranch. And our commitment to excellence shows with a recent gold medal win at the 2020 Whiskeys of the World and USA Spirits competitions. Find out more at www.freyranch.com.
All right, everybody, and welcome back to the final round session period quarter thingamajigger, whatever you want to call it. I am your host, Chad, and with me is my snapback wearing purple shirt, pullover buddy, Philip. Philip, how's it going, man?
It's going good.
That's all you got?
Wait. Is this the Beard of Knowledge?
I've got my
podcast?
pants on.
Yeah, this is the introduction of the Beard of Knowledge podcast.
That's right. It's coming. Don't worry.
Don't be jelly.
Awesome.
Philip, what do we got poured up, man?
So we've got two special pours for this round. We've got the Frey Ranch Bourbon Life pick, and then we've also got the 1792 Bourbon Life pick, which me and Chad were not invited on.
Hey, I didn't have a
Philip,
part.
do you need more of the Frey Ranch?
No, I'm good.
Are you sure?
Have you been
It's so good. I gotta
He
drive.
has like a tiny little bit in his glass, and it makes me feel
man.
bad.
No.
Yeah. All right. So first, we're gonna taste this 1792 Foolproof that Matt and I'm sorry that we weren't able to invite anybody else. I apologize for that.
He doesn't look that sorry, guys.
It's because he's the
Bite
mayor
me.
of Liquor Bar. That's why. He does whatever he wants. He could have invited
Matt
us.
looks sorry.
Oh man.
Mark so much.
Anyway, Brad Williams, the guy that picks all the barrels. I mean, Brad just that's all he does, right? I mean, he just picks barrels. So Brad invited us to come along for a barrel pick. Matt, when did we do that? Was that December?
That was December. That was middle of December.
Yeah, you guys picked yours after I picked mine for Total Wine, and I still don't have mine.
Well, you know what?
Sorry.
Shut up.
If you guys sponsored the Bourbon Life Podcast, you'd probably have it. So thanks to Liquor Barn for sponsoring the Bourbon Life Podcast, and we got our barrel. So anyway,
Hey, Chad, do you guys want to sponsor the Angel Share?
Total Wine sponsors someone else.
But yeah, we went out there. We picked this on
did.
like the coldest day in
oh
December.
my God, dude, it
Lord
was
have
like
mercy.
yeah, and it was like kind of like let's go out to the warehouse and or the rick house. So we went out there and we had four barrels.
Yeah.
4? Yeah.
4 barrels.
Yeah. So we tasted through it, but it was like, I mean, we weren't there for long. I mean, it was like 30, 45 minutes, man. I mean, it was quick, right?
It was quick. It would have been an awesome experience on a nicer weather kind of day, but it was so cold that when we were knocking out the bung, I was worried I was going to shatter the wood in the barrel.
That's right. Because we're like, because I'd done it before, and you know, Matt was like, you hadn't done it, right? You hadn't knocked. If you've never been on a barrel pick, it's fun, you know, to get to knock the bung out of the bung hole. So
I don't know why you guys are laughing.
We're
Yeah,
all
me-
four.
I don't know.
Come
either.
on.
You got to
Damn.
tap it from the right
Yeah, you
direction.
just got to tap it.
Professional.
The bullseye.
Yeah,
Chad's got one right
Gotta
there.
tap it in.
oh Lord, you guys are killing me. Anyway, so we gave that privilege to Matt, and Matt was kind
Congratulations,
of. I
Matt.
could tell
Thank you. I
Matt.
appreciate it.
Matt was kind of afraid. I could see the look in his eyes, like he was worried he was going to hurt the barrel. I think
Hey, we got the bourbon out of it.
he
That's
did.
right.
Matt started. He hammered away, and he knocked the bung right out of that bung hole. So, and we got to enjoy some really special bourbon after that.
And I think that really shines through in what we're tasting today.
It really does. I think so. So the funny thing was, so Brad messaged me last week and he's like, "Hey, do you guys want some bottles?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know, it'd be nice to have a few." So Matt and I both got a couple bottles, and Friday of last week, I saw a message somebody posted on Facebook like, "Hey, if 1792 Foolproof is your thing, there's some up at Liquor Barn in Hamburg." And I was like, "That's got to be our bottle." Right? So I get up there and they're like, "Nope, we sold out." I'm like, "You're kidding me. Seriously?" But they had it on the tasting bar. So I was able to go over and get a taste, but they did put some bottles back for us, which is very nice, but they sold out in like an hour.
But what's even funnier is, so we have our little Bourbon Life little group chat.
Yes,
Not
our
to give
group-
away too much
Our
there.
group text, nobody else is invited.
Yeah,
Right, so
no one else. It's invitation only.
That's right.
But somebody else had messaged me earlier in the day, and they're like, "Hey, I just saw this 1792 pick, and it's Bourbon Life." And I was like, "Yeah, I think they did that pick forever ago," which it had been a while, not
It had been,
forever.
yeah,
It had been
yeah.
a while ago. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's already been released. And then you texted that later in the day, and I was like, shit. And I was like, okay, maybe I should have told you to pick up a bottle.
Yeah.
My bad.
Sorry about that.
But he
Yeah.
was in a completely different city. So, hey, good for you guys.
Yeah, that's funny, though. So somewhere else in Kentucky, right?
Yeah, it was in Owensboro.
Okay. Yeah. So they probably put out, I mean, I'm sure they got a barrel.
It was
so
earlier in the day, actually.
yeah, 100 and some, probably 180, 200 bottles, maybe.
I don't know how many
Chad,
bottles they put out.
you're probably an expert in that more so than I am, but somewhere between 180, maybe 200 bottles.
I mean, I feel like that's quite a, I mean,
That's probably a lot.
That's
I would
a
say
lot.
it's
Think?
probably
I would say like less than
since
150.
it's,
Oh,
since
okay.
It's foolproof. I would say it's less.
I mean, they're still proofing it down, so I
that's
mean, it will
right.
go
It's one-
slightly further.
but it's 125,
still, I mean,
so.
I mean, 8 to 10-year-old barrel at that point, depending on where it is in the rick house, probably
Sure.
isn't going to yield 200 bottles.
Well, I'm happy I got one.
Hey, especially since you guys picked it. So
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah. So, hey, and this was Matt and Brad, man. So, let's talk about it. What do you guys pick up on the nose? I'm going to look at you, Philip.
So I get nothing but banana nut muffins.
Dude,
That
banana is like
100%.
jumping out so much right now at me, which is crazy.
It's like when you stay in a Hampton Inn and you go down for breakfast and all they have out is banana nut muffins. That's what it smells like.
It's like, thank you, mother. For,
Hey, but banana nut muffins are the best.
they are.
That's
They're very good.
My personal opinion.
But yes, there is a lot of banana that's really coming through on this one. So Stacey, since you jumped in there, what do you think?
Well, sorry. I also get heavy apple,
Okay.
and it's like not like a fresh cut apple, but like think of like apples that are growing on like a farm. Again,
Okay.
that takes me back to like my grandparents' house. They had a big apple tree that was out back by their tobacco patch
Sure.
actually
Yeah.
behind their house. I don't know. It smells like fresh apples to me.
Christy, what about you?
Have you ever had raw pie dough? You know when you thaw one of those pre-made pie doughs, they're not baked yet?
Yeah.
That raw smell, I get a lot of that off of it.
Gotcha. So would that be more kind of a yeasty kind of smell then?
Kind of
Or-
a yeasty, but
Okay.
I don't just think of it just as like that pie dough. It's a very distinct scent.
Gotcha.
And then
Okay.
the apple, of course. I get
That's-
tons of that.
That might be where I'm getting some of that too, because my grandma
'Cause of
also made like
pies.
apple pie
Pies, sure.
pie turnovers.
Well, have you ever made like a
that
cherry
same
pie?
day.
You open up
Exactly.
that can of cherry pie filling and you
Right.
pour it into that raw, unbaked pie dish. That's what it smells like.
Yeah, and it's
it
funny
does.
now that I'm going back to it because I've lost the bananas, but honestly, as it sat here, I was like bananas, and now I'm like, I don't smell bananas anymore.
What do you smell now?
I smell like almost like cherries.
That's what I was
exactly
getting.
what
I mean,
was
it
gonna say.
is like it's
Yeah.
seriously super fruit for. I
in the
am
beginning, it was
digging
like-
this nose.
In the beginning, I feel it was a lot more apples and like really deep brown sugar. And
Yeah.
it is starting to drift more towards like that cherries and such.
Yeah, Matt, what about you, man? You're working it hard over there. What do you get?
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with everybody on this one. Of course,
What?
1792.
Let me bask in the glow of the fact that was. Thank you very much, Matt.
Yeah, first and foremost, bananas. I always pick up banana with 1792.
Yeah.
But my initial thoughts when I first was sniffing on this was there's a whole lot of fruit and more flavor than like aroma, if that makes any sense. So I'm not smelling like the aroma of oak or the aroma
Yeah,
of tobacco.
sure,
I'm like
right.
smelling flavors like fruits, bananas, vanilla, brown sugar. And now I'm picking up a little bit more aroma. There's like a bruleed sugar, almost like the smell of burnt off alcohol. If you're cooking with it and you go to like flambe something real quick, you get like a real
Yeah.
Bananas
flash in the.
Foster.
Yep, I was thinking bananas Foster very much so is kind of what's coming through to me. Is
Very
like
nice.
that burnt bruleed alcohol
Yeah.
aroma as well. Very pleasant.
Chad, what about you, man?
I was thinking bread pudding. That yeasty caramel, banana, and then as everyone started talking about, I don't know if it's power of suggestion, but I'm not so much getting the cherry as I am the apple, but it reminds me of like a deep fried apple pie.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's kind of going back to what Stacey was saying about apple pie or pie turnovers from her grandmother. So yeah, so a very fruit forward type of. And Matt, I'm just gonna say, man, when we picked this barrel, I don't remember it tasting this
No,
good.
it tasted nothing like this. One, it was so cold. It was hard to like smell anything because my nose was running like crazy. I think I started with it at like 130 something proof. And by the time my nose finished dripping off into the thing, it was down to like 90 proof.
But I will say that, like, I've had a lot of 1792 picks, but this, like, the nose on it is super, I don't know, it's different than I've had.
Usually they're like super like black peppery,
Yes.
spice forward.
Yeah.
This one's like so dessert
This one is
laden.
so, like, fruity and, like Chad just said, dessert to me.
I feel like this is like a book. It just unfolds itself.
I really,
It presents
really
different in the
like
beginning
this.
and just turns into something entirely different. And 1792 for me has always been like that banana pudding, you know, with vanilla wafers.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
But this is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. For all you haters out there that say, "Oh, you don't taste or smell all that stuff," this one is a
No, this is
No, you do.
that's
You
straight
really-
up BS.
yeah,
This
if
one's
someone-
completely different.
Yep.
If someone buys this bottle and actually lets it sit and smells it over, 30 minutes,
Sure.
you will definitely see the difference.
You're going to pick it up. So we are very, honored, obviously, to have Brad at Liquor Barn ask us to join him for that. So we had a lot of fun with it, and he asked me to design the label, the sticker. So I was able to do that, but I noticed
That's what you went with? I'm just kidding. totally kidding.
you
I'm
know what?
totally
Here-
kidding.
Number one, I'm not like Heather Wibbles, the cocktail Contessa. I'm not a photographer. Number two, I'm not a
The original label was actually just a picture of Mark's face.
Oh, that's what I was.
It's all about Mark.
Yeah, it was like
it was
this.
me in a
Yeah.
robe. It
In
was
a
yeah,
robe,
it was-
yeah.
yeah.
You didn't hit up your graphic designer,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I should have hit up my graphic designer buddy, but yeah. So Brad was like, "Man, can you just put something together?" I'm like, "What do you think about this?" He goes, "Oh, that's perfect." I'm like, "Okay." And when I got the bottle, I realized at the bottom it says barrel 1. So I don't know if you guys see that. And I'm like,
Does that mean there's more to come?
I don't know.
Let's hope.
That's what I pick up from it.
That's kind of the thing for me. I'm like, it's kind of like dun dun dun.
Not saying it's official or anything, but
But also, I don't know. This is killer. I
Yeah.
really, really like this one. This is probably my favorite of the 1792 picks that I've had. And I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting here at the Bourbon Life
Yeah,
Studios
if it tastes like
table.
shit, I mean, you can tell us.
I would
I'm not-
tell you if it
yeah,
tasted
I'm not-
like shit.
I'm not going to
but,
be offended. So
No, I really like it.
Now, it packs a punch, but at the same time, it knows when to rein itself back.
yeah,
100%.
yeah, because it's 125 proof. So I mean, it's not.
It doesn't drink like that.
But
to
it
me,
doesn't
though.
drink hot. It
Right, that's what I'm
it's-
saying,
It's
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, so it's not a 100 proofer. It's not a 90 proofer. It's not something you can be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna have a 3 or
Pretty
4.
pissed now that I wasn't in town to get a bottle of it.
Yeah, Mark.
I'm actually really upset.
Well, you know what? It was funny because, like I said, Brad messaged me, sent me an email last week and was like, hey, do you guys want a couple bottles? I'm like, yeah, we'd love to have that. And then I saw the post on Friday. It's like, there's a Foolproof barrel pick out. I'm like, man, that's got to be our bottle. It has to be. And I drove over to Hamburg, and sure enough, it was. They were already sold out. I mean, it took less than an hour,
It's great though.
and they'd sold out. So they had it on the tasting bar, and they were about halfway through the bottle already on the tasting bar. So I bought a pour because I was like, I don't remember. You know, it's just one of those things. It's like you just like you know.
You did a great job, Matt.
It's
Yeah,
like
Matt,
every
yeah.
episode
But
of the
you know,
Bourbon Life
honestly,
Podcast.
I mean,
Yeah.
do you remember tasting notes from barrel picks you do, like just in your head, Chad?
Kind of, sort of.
Do you? I see. I don't.
Well,
So he's putting you on the spot.
I'll agree with the 1792 though, because when I picked ours in November, it was like 10 degrees outside.
Yeah, okay.
And we were in and out in 15 minutes, and all the lowest proof one was 131 proof, and I couldn't tell you because it was seriously like, all right, pick this shit and let's get out. It's cold.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, honestly, Matt, do you remember? I mean, I don't remember tasting notes.
I remember of the 4, the one we ended up with was the one that I actually felt had the most character.
Right.
Like maybe it was just the one on the day that I was tasting and smelling the most out of. Maybe it was the one that I was able to put descriptors behind what I was smelling and tasting the most out of. But to me, it was the barrel that I felt brought the most to the table, had
Yeah.
the most character, most things I could identify with, but at the same time was the least like the others.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But I couldn't sit down and say yes. if you had asked me Friday, what did this barrel taste like? I couldn't say I got this, and this. I mean, I really couldn't. So when I finally got to taste it, I was like, oh my God, this is a really good barrel.
Do you think that'd be different if you guys were tasting it now when things are a little bit warmer?
Good question.
I think it would be different.
Barrel
It may
picks
be.
are an entirely different time of year.
Yeah, it may be.
Yeah.
It could be.
Do you think you still would have picked this one?
I don't know. That's a good question.
That's hard to say on the
'Cause
day because I
It would
did.
have tasted different.
Yeah,
It
I
probably
did
would've.
proof mine down a little bit too. Put a little bit of water to try to get it as
Yeah.
close to 125 as possible. But I think this one, knowing it was going to taste like this, I want to say I would have picked it anyway, regardless of what else
I think
was
it's
out
great.
there. But
No, it's a solid pick, regardless if it was hot or cold. But I was just curious
that's a good question.
Do you all know what the barrel was before it was proofed down to 125?
I don't remember what it was, man.
132
Something, yeah.
and change low. I
yeah.
think like maybe 131.8, 132.2.
Yeah. So I mean,
It was not the hottest of the four.
Yeah, right. And it wasn't that far off, so it wasn't like a really big step down. So I think that was part of the driving factor for picking that. But it's funny because after we finished, I mean, believe it or not, yes, I had still a little bit left in all my 4 glasses, and I mixed them together and tasted it. I was like, holy shit, this is really good. I'm like, Brad, do you think maybe we could?
I don't know. This is solid.
Can you just buy all 4 bottles and blend them together? But apparently that, it didn't happen. But
as fast as Chad said, like he had to go in and out in 15 minutes.
yeah, right.
It changes so much in 15 minutes.
It does. And this one's changed, man, like I said, because it was bananas at first.
But it's something entirely different now. I'm getting a
is.
lot of red apple peel.
Yeah.
That's something that I got on at the beginning, and you guys talked about bananas. Maybe
Yeah.
power of suggestion, but
Now I'm definitely getting I'm
like
getting
bananas,
like
The
that.
red apple.
caramel.
Well, mine's more like that mash bill one at Buffalo Trace Cherry is what I'm getting.
I gotcha.
So do we want to talk on palate here?
Yeah. Talk about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Let's-
we're all getting into it.
Come on, man. Let's do it.
Stacey, go ahead.
Palate. Oh,
Thank you, Matt.
putting me on the spot.
Uh-huh. Like she's going to take another sip like,
I don't know. It's really damn good. Palate on it for me, you don't get as much as like the citrus notes coming through on it, but you get a nice amount of spice. Doesn't linger too much in the back for me. Stops about mid palate for me. I don't know. Nice amount of spice. Still has a little bit of fruitiness, but not as much as that's coming through on the nose. That's just me personally.
gotcha. Chad, since you're on your phone, what are you picking up?
Hey, I'm
He's
trying
Googling
to,
it.
No, I'm trying to find my 1792 barrel pick.
He's like, what did I think of mine?
I thought I went in November. I went in December, so I think I had the week before you guys.
Oh, so we got your leftovers?
Yeah,
you got
thanks,
my
man.
Hey,
leftovers.
whatever.
Great.
It's delicious.
Worked out for us.
Chad didn't want this one.
That's
What a
the
moron.
second palate in Kentucky.
Well,
not
no.
first.
That's right.
I was looking
That's
to
why
see if
Chad's
there
the
was,
second best palate. Sorry, dude.
I'm gonna kick your ass, Mark. I was looking to see if there was a barrel that I got like the heavy apple note on, and there is only one barrel. There's only one barrel that I listed apple on the pick that I did. But because I was just curious. But no, I got it just like the nose on the palate. Tons of that brown sugar, fried apple, banana bread. I mean,
Right.
it just all accumulated together. It like we were talking about earlier, me and Stacey, usually on these 1792 picks and just a regular bottling, I get tons of spice and black pepper. So I usually steer away from them. Or if I get a bottle, I proof it down myself. I'll add some water to it
Sure.
because I love their bottled and bond. I've never honestly been a huge fan of the Foolproof just because it's so much heat. Like
Right.
I love Barton products, but the Foolproof's always got a lot of heat, and this doesn't. It's very dessert forward.
I agree.
Great.
But it still has a drying effect. I mean, like I mentioned, red apple peel.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that red apple peel is very dry.
Okay.
So it's got there's an indication of sweetness, but at the same time, it's very sec.
Yeah, very
It pulls
tannic.
back.
Yeah, it's not overwhelming. It's not like super coating on the tongue to where it's like super desserty. So I don't want our nose notes to come across like, oh, it's super desserty.
Right.
No. I mean, it's got the pastry notes and all, but at the same time, I feel it's very restrained. Mm-hmm. It packs like a ton of flavor, though. It's great.
No, I love this one for sure.
Well, thank you. Philip, what about you, man?
I feel like it was on like floor 3 of Brick House 7, and then it collapsed. It was in that one that collapsed. I can taste it.
There we go.
That vibration when it fell, I can taste
There
it.
was a
just went up to
tornado.
$700
There was
on
a tornado
secondary.
that went through, and then
Seriously, I'm not just talking great things about this one because I'm sitting here with you guys.
Yes,
this,
you are.
This
That's okay,
seriously
Stacey. That's
is one of the best,
Okay.
if not the best, 1792 picks that I've had.
Well, thank you very much.
I second that.
Well, thank you guys. That's awesome. Matt, what about you,
So
man?
great job, Matt.
Yeah, I was going to say,
appreciate that.
I'm going to give all the credit.
Mark
to,
helped as well.
No, I'm giving all the credit to Matt and Brad. So
Good job, Brad.
I just happened to be there.
Great job,
Yeah,
Brad.
Yeah, Brad, if you're listening, great job, man. Matt, great
Brad's
job.
always listening.
Matt, what about you, man?
I get some spice right up front. I think the rye in the mash bill comes through just right on the tip of the palate, and then it dissipates, which is actually nice because it leaves room for a lot of flavor past that. And that's when it really starts to soften. I get vanilla. I get a lot of nougat. Like think kind of like inside of a Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
Kind of that's like sweet, creamy, nougaty, brown, whatever kind of confectioner sugar to it as well. And then the heat that comes through on the back end for me is like a very crisp heat. And I can kind of best describe it as like ginger.
Okay.
It's not like a spicy, hot peppercorn or cinnamon that kind of leaves a burn, but it's like a hot kind of ginger, kind of wasabi sort of
Gotcha.
heat near the end. That's really nice.
I can agree with that nougat. It's like that malty nougat.
Yeah.
That's
So, hey,
descriptor.
we did a great job, right?
Yeah, no, seriously.
Way to go, Mark.
This is delicious. Absolutely delicious.
Well, it's funny because I went up there. Actually, I was at Liquor Barn again. Hey, today.
He's got a desk in the back.
I do.
Yeah.
So
He had lunch there.
I just happened to stop
I
in.
grabbed a
Liquor Barn, not
sandwich.
Total
Voting district
Wine.
is Liquor Barn.
In the typical Facebook post, Mark posted a picture. Of course, he did a barrel pick with Liquor Barn.
So the bottle on the tasting bar is gone, unfortunately. But it was funny because I found out that like the employees there drank half the bottle.
It's really damn good.
They were like, and I mean, they bought that. They didn't just drink it. They bought their shots, right? So, or their pours. So they shared it with everybody, and it was nice to go in and have people say, "Man, that was a great job. You guys did a great pick." It's a lot of fun because I love going up there, and they have a great bar to hang out at. You can buy beer and get lunch, which I do. You guys joke about it, but I love going up
No,
there.
but he really does get lunch there.
I do. And the people there are just really good people. And I just enjoy spending time up there. So it was nice to get their feedback from people that are in the industry, to have them comment about how much they enjoyed the pick. But I really am just, I'm just like kind of curious about that fact that they put barrel 1 if you look at the bottom of that label.
I really hope that you guys get to do another one because this is killer.
Brad's going to hear
We
this like,
guys-
oh, shit, we meant to put barrel 1
Yeah,
down.
all of us.
Are we
All of
involved
us.
in that?
But speaking
We're in
of
the
good
family.
people,
Yes.
we've like got a little bonus here because we've
We
got
do, man.
another barrel pick.
We do,
We'll
that's
talk
right.
about some good people.
That's right.
Frey Ranch.
Yeah.
Matt,
right.
what a wonderful segue, man. Matt says, like, I need to get home because I'm tired. Can we move the show forward, please? Yes, Matt, you are correct, man. We did a barrel pick with Frey Ranch.
Yep. With Ashley and Colby.
That was great. Yeah. Unfortunately, Chad was not with us.
Nope, I had to work.
He said unfortunately, but he rolled his eyes when he said unfortunately. I saw it.
Philip got to participate, though.
That's right.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Mark
that's
had no say in this pick.
right. That's right. That's
Neither
right.
did I.
Mark was like, just like sidelined completely as Matt and Philip decided to do their thing, which is great, which is fine. But yes, Frey Ranch, we love those guys. We had them on the show a long time ago. Probably need to fix that one as well. But decided last year that we wanted to do a barrel pick with those guys out in Nevada. And they sent us, 5 barrels?
Yeah, 5 to pick from. We
Yeah.
were able to pick the best on the day. And the best news about this is barrel is going to be available to all of our listeners, right?
Yes, it will be.
Bottles from this, because we have partnered with One West DuPont.
That's right, man.
With Prov out in D.C.
Up in D.C.
So once we get this thing in hand, and then Prov is able to take orders and ship this bottle.
That's right.
To any of our listeners. So please be checking the Facebook, be checking the Instagram, as we will be providing you with more information about how you might be able to get your hands on a bottle of this here.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. We had Prov on the show. If you guys haven't listened to the episode or don't know Prov, go back and listen to it. He runs and owns One West DuPont Circle Wines and Liquors. I think it's the name of the store. Is that right?
Probably.
Yeah. There's a lot of numbers and names and words in that name.
If there's a lot of bottles that you can't find on the shelf,
that's right.
That's the right page.
If you cannot find it, Prov can find it for you.
Yeah.
Prov, he's a great dude. I'm just gonna say, man, that was probably one of my favorite episodes we've ever done, because his dad, he moved his family over here from Nepal. That's right. Born in India, right? They're from India, moved to Nepal, and then moved over here. So Prov, he's just a great guy. Does a lot of good stuff, a lot of barrel picks, but can get access to just like crazy.
And that was one thing I enjoyed about the episode with him, was he explained why he has certain bottles, and it may cost a certain premium, but there's a reason why. Like, he's out looking for those elite clients. That
exactly
are looking
right.
For that special bottle.
And he does, man. But, we talked to him. I'm like, can you help us out? Because we want to do a pick. He's like, yep. And in D.C., he can ship anywhere in the U.S. because of his licensing, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. So Matt and I talked about it, and we decided Frey Ranch, after tasting through so many different things. There's a lot of people out there that don't have the opportunity to taste Frey Ranch, but man, the stuff they're doing is just phenomenal. Wouldn't you agree, Matt?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love to sit here and wax poetic and talk so much more about them, but we've got an episode where we had
that's right,
Colby and Ashley on, so we encourage everybody to go check that one out.
Go back and listen to it. So all right, so let's talk about, we got poured up the last bit. The barrel we picked, we poured it up, so we're done with it. So what do you guys pick up in terms
Does that have the proof on it?
Yes, this is actually 66.46 proof, man. So 134.92, 132.92. So
yeah, it was 4.5, 5 years.
I think it was 5 years.
Yeah,
right, 5 years.
Did they use malted rye in their mash bill?
That's a good question. I don't know for sure. I think so, but I'm not positive. Philip, like
he's like, surely pour for this.
I'm pouring the last drop because I already drank everything else out of it.
No, I haven't.
So.
I haven't.
Do you want more of it?
Oh no, I'm good.
Are you sure?
It's so good. I want you.
Are you
Look
sure?
at Philip, man. Look at that. Look how much I've
I've had it before.
I'm gonna share some.
so
of my
glad
Christi
Everyone
and I
else
were
has.
jerks a couple weeks ago because Mark is like, this is the one that we picked. If you guys want to send a picture to Chad, because he hasn't had this one yet.
Poor Chad.
So
he was
sorry.
not
Of course,
able.
we leap on that opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, of course you did.
Any
man.
any opportunity to be an
So
asshole.
Chad,
that's me.
let's start with you, man. What do you? And you know what? Here's the thing, man. Be honest. If you're not a fan, if you don't, whatever, just tell us what you think.
Tell him it sucks.
You know what? You're not gonna hurt my feelings, man. So.
I would hurt Philip and Matt's feelings, though.
It would make Mark feel better.
That's right. We've already hurt Mark's feelings with this one, so go ahead.
Oh man.
No, I was asking because I know they're a 4 grain, like their baseline's 4 grain, but I'm getting a ton of like malted rye, and I don't know if they use malted rye or if they're just corn, rye, wheat, barley.
Right.
But I feel like I'm getting a good bit of malted rye. Green apple. We were talking about apple with the 1792. This is just like straight green apple on the nose. A little bit of that readiness from the wheat, but it was hot whenever we first poured it up. like 20 minutes ago.
Sure it was,
it
man.
was a flamethrower.
130 some proof. 132.
But the
130.
longer it sits, it really opens up.
It's just turned into like a honey bomb and that green apple.
Yes.
Really good. Really good on the nose.
The honey's coming through, man, for sure for me. Stacey, what about you?
Well, you just said it. Honey's coming through. Getting a lot more of like the bready, like, I don't know. I'm thinking like not necessarily like an apple turnover, but like if you make like a bread and like maybe make like an apple compote to go over it is where I'm going with the nose.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Nope, that's good. Matt, what about you, man?
I pick up a lot of oranges.
Do you?
A lot of orange, a lot of apricot is coming through with this. There's some citrus. I think maybe apricot is a little more predominant. But I get cornbread, like fresh cornbread, a little bit of pecan as well coming through. And then some oak. I think there's a little bit of the barrel char coming through on this as well.
So does it remind you of what we tasted when we picked it?
It's been a bit, but I do remember picking up a little bit more on the nose with this one, with some more fruit than some of the other ones.
Gotcha. Okay. Christy?
So I kind of feel like we're all over the board in this one. I'm getting the honey that everyone's talking about, but I'm getting like a salted honey. But that brininess comes out again. So I'm getting like a little bit of caper and green peppercorn.
Okay.
And then we mentioned papaya earlier for another tasty note for a different whiskey. I get that papaya immediately.
Okay.
And it's that dry thing all over again too with the mouthfeel.
Philip, what about you, man?
I'm getting that same note we got back when we picked it. It's like an old-fashioned diner cherry cola.
Okay. So you're still a fan of it?
Oh, yeah.
I love Frey Ranch. I'm lucky that I have a friend in Las Vegas. So when he comes to Kentucky, he
can bring you stuff.
He brings me tons of Frey Ranch.
Oh,
I love it.
I'm telling you.
And those toppers really double as a weapon. They're about a pound each.
Yeah.
Crazy heavy,
Well,
right?
the bottle design too.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous.
The bottle design, everything about Frey Ranch.
So my Christmas tree this year, so I have 2 Christmas trees. One's a palm tree. The other one's like a traditional slender Christmas tree. It was flanked by Frey Ranch bottles.
That's awesome. Yeah, so we love it. So this is going to be available probably, I think our guy's picking it up this week. So it'll probably be available starting next week.
So hopefully soon thereafter this podcast comes out if you're listening in due time.
Right. So it'll be probably the week after this podcast comes out. It should be available. We'll have information on the Instagram and our Facebook about how you can pick it up. But the good thing is, because we've done a barrel pick before, which was a lot of fun, and Chad was actually with us on that barrel pick at Bullet. Woo!
Yeah, last time I went, they actually remembered because they were I was talking about, last time I was here,
ice
there was
storm.
a shitty snowstorm, and I was like, and she was like, oh yeah, the deer on the hill. I'm like, yeah, that was us.
That's right, 11 more buck.
Yeah.
So, which was a great pick. It's just funny, man, because I went back and killed off a bottle last week.
I thought you were going to say killed off a buck. I'm like, you hunt?
I would love to hunt. Anyway, I digress. But
sorry.
I killed off a bottle of that, and I was like, damn, I don't remember this one tasting that good. But I was pretty impressed with what.
I love that pick.
Yeah, I do too, man. So I have maybe a case stashed away somewhere in the Bourbon Life podcast studios. but yeah, so you're with us for that one, which was a great pick, man. So, but I'm sorry you weren't with us on this one. We'll try to remedy that one down the road. So
Yes, you will.
yeah. All right, guys. So what do you think? Just tell us final thoughts. What do you think?
I like it. Mm-hmm. I'd buy this.
All right.
It's very unique. You're not going to find anything else that tastes like this.
Good. Very nice. Chad, what do you think, man?
I like it. A little bit of cinnamon red hot on the palate. I mean, 1,000 proof, it will do that to you. But still getting those same bread qualities I got off the nose. The malt really shows through, gives a nice earthy honey tobacco note to me. And it just comes off really, for the proof, it's really balanced. When I first sniffed it earlier, I thought it actually hurt me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is hot. But,
Pansy.
But then I looked at the...
You know what? Thank you, Stacey. I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, I don't typically just deep inhale 134 proof whiskey, so it really shocked me.
Yeah,
that's what working at Total Wine will do to you.
Oh, damn!
I'm kidding.
Can I go back and edit that out? I'm so sorry. Ooh, I was waiting for that to happen. It's been all night, but thank you, Stacey, for delivering.
Sorry. I said I wasn't going to be a smart ass on this podcast, but...
All right, so what do you think, Stacey?
I think this is really good. I do agree with some of what Chad said, though. even though I just talk shit about him.
That's how it goes.
You know, it does drink pretty hot, but it's not anything that's super overwhelming. I think it's very welcoming. I really enjoy it personally.
Nice. Matt, what about you, man?
I'm loving it just as much as I did day one. I think a lot of the honey comes through on the palate, and then I'm picking up kind of like some coriander, like a little cilantro. There's like some herbal aromas and herbal flavor coming through on the palate to me as well. Nice long hot finish, and it doesn't hide that it's got some proof behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Christy?
We already came to Christi. But I will say, I do echo what Chad was saying about the red hots. I do get that.
Nice. All right, guys. So I guess we should close it out, huh? Or do we have anything else to talk about?
Wait, you didn't hit Patrick.
Are you going to close it out?
Mark
I don't
hasn't
know.
given any tasting
Philip,
notes
wait a
this
second.
entire
I
time.
know.
Mark, yeah,
But Philip,
what are
let's-
your
let's-
tasting notes
let's talk
and Philip's tasting notes?
Let's talk
Philip's
about
in
Philip,
his
man.
notes.
I'm sorry,
so
Philip.
You completely skipped over.
I still get that cherry cola on the taste, but on the
Awesome.
finish, I'm definitely getting like a tobacco. And then when I go back and nose my empty glass, that tobacco's there.
Coming through? Yeah. All right.
What about you, Mark? What do you get?
It doesn't matter what I get.
No, it does
No, I
matter.
just-
What do you get?
I just get something that's tasty. I get vanilla
And caramel.
and caramel
Yeah.
And,
and a little
And
bit
bingo.
of oak.
a little bit of just a touch of
I mean,
oak.
you can definitely tell there's rye, right?
Yes, it's a rye bourbon, right?
It's got to be.
I mean, I love it, so I'm happy we picked that one. So, yeah, right.
Me too.
All right, guys. So, anything else you want to add before we close it out? Look at that, everybody's quiet.
Be on the lookout for the Beards of Knowledge podcast coming soon.
Well, and thanks for having Christi and I a part of your Bourbon Life crew. I know that was probably like, what the hell, and scary
What the heck?
to have us
not
in
at all,
here.
man.
But thanks, guys, for being tolerable of our bullshit.
I'm just glad it wasn't like an HR issue. You know,
No, anything we can do to bring credibility to the podcast when it's Mark and I for real. Yeah, like
yeah, for real.
people
Because
that actually know what they're talking about.
It used
we'll
to be
take whatever we
me
can
and
get.
Matt just sitting here like, hey, Matt, what do you think? What's going on, Matt?
Hey,
Let's
man.
Let's talk about some stuff, Matt.
I mean, that's kind of what it is anyway. But
Yeah, but
this brings credibility.
it does.
Like,
I mean,
yeah,
we got like credible people here to
Yeah.
talk and enjoy.
making us look decent.
Yeah, we appreciate that very much. So, no, we appreciate you all joining us. So, and thanks for being part of the Bourbon Life crew now, Christi and Stacey.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah. All right, guys, before we wrap it up, anything you want to add? Close it out. Chad?
nope, just happy to be here. Love doing the crew episodes. Happy to have you guys aboard, and this was a blast.
Thanks.
Yeah. Stacey?
Same. Glad that you guys are here. Glad I get to put some faces to the names.
Yeah.
This has been really fun. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Matt?
Always an enjoyable time. And everybody, please check out all of these great people on Instagram and follow them.
Definitely.
Ditto. I'm happy to be with everyone in person rather than just shit talking and messenger chat.
All right. So the way I envisioned this whole episode was going to be Stacey and Christi and Chad just like continuously
Sorry.
just like going at each other and
But you know
having
what?
fun. So
Like Chad and I have known each other for a while. Like we've known each other before
Right.
the Bourbon
Right.
Life.
sure. Wait, what?
Yeah, we
You mean
we
there's-
follow each other on Instagram.
Before the Bourbon Life? There's
Yes.
what?
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
life before Bourbon
There was life before then. And Chad and I we used to like chat every once in a while on there.
Quite often.
All right. All right. Well, we'll forgive that. Philip,
My taste.
what about you, man? Anything you want to add?
I would say, ladies, welcome to the crew, and I had a blast.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being here tonight. Of course, I love hanging out with the Bourbon Life crew. It's a lot of fun here in the Bourbon Life Studios, otherwise known as.
Mark's
Your basement.
That's right. Thank you guys very much.
We're in the dungeon.
That's
The
right.
dungeon.
That's right. So thank you all for listening. We want to thank all of our sponsors. We appreciate everything they do for us. And thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to send us an email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram and Facebook as well. And with that said, I'm going to wrap it up, send us home with our tagline, which is, may your glasses always be full, and may you keep on living the Bourbon Life.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Our mission at the Bourbon Life is simple: to share our passion for all things bourbon with you every week. And we'd really love to hear your thoughts on how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bourbon Life. You can also contact us by email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. And you can always find us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a moment, we'd love it if you would rate us and give us a review. So until next week, we hope your glass is always full and that you keep on living the Bourbon Life.
Whether it's rye, sour mash Tennessee whiskey, or bourbon, Davidson Reserve has something delicious to offer any whiskey lover's palate. Pick up a bottle of one of our award-winning Davidson Reserve whiskeys from your local retailer today. Visit www.davidsonreserve.com for more information. And cheers to drinking local.